The questions that my generations are asking themselves about the next generation, if I can sum it up, is that they do not understand how Africa, with so much wealth on our soil, with its generous nature, water and abundant sunshine, Africa is today the poorest continent. Africa is a starving continent, and how is it that our heads of state are traveling through the world of a man? These are questions that we are asking ourselves and that we have not yet had answers. We have the opportunity to forge new relationships, and I hope that these relations can be the best, to give a better future to our peoples. My generation also instructs me to say that because of poverty, they are forced to cross the ocean in order to try to reach Europe. They die in the ocean, but that soon they will not have crossed it, because they will come in front of our palaces to look for their daily sustenance.
This is another great difference between Ibrahim Traore and African politicians and African leaders who are so-called puppets. Yeah. When Ibrahim Traore goes out there, when he has been called by another country's president, maybe those president or Donald Trump, or rather Vladimir Putin. Of course, Donald Trump has never called him. He has never gone. Okay, he has been called many times, but he hasn't gone there yet. But when he goes out there, for example, when he has been called by Putin, because many times I've seen also Putin calling other African politicians, but they seem maybe not to align, maybe because of what Putin wants, because Putin is also, they're not so much on good lane with these other presidents like Donald Trump and Macron and all those others. So when he goes there, the first thing he does is to put African people in front. First of all, he goes there as an African people representative. And therefore, the first thing he does is to speak out the issues and the matters affecting the well-being of African people. That's the number one thing. You know, the difference between these other people, these other African politicians, when they go there, what they do is that they want to listen to what they're being told, regardless of whether it's good or it's bad. They don't care. They don't take time to think. I want you to listen to Ibrahim Traore.
Comrade President Vladimir Putin, African heads of state, Comrade head of delegation, good morning. It is an honor for me this morning to take the floor here and to pass on to you the fraternal greetings of the people of the land of men of integrity. It is from the Almighty that we have been able to gather here this morning in good health to talk about the future and the well-being of our people. I am going to apologize to the elders whom I may offend in my future remarks. Because of Africanity, because of the rights of one of them, I have to apologize. Comrade, I have a few questions from my generation. Not a single question that is being asked. We don't have an answer, and it turns out that here we can wash our linseed because we feel like a family. It feels like a family in the sense that Russia is also a family for Africa. It is a family because we have the same history. Russia made enormous sacrifices to liberate the world from Nazism during the Second World War. The people of Africa, our grandfathers, were also forcibly deported to help Europe get rid of Nazism. We share the same history in the sense that we are the forgotten peoples of the world, whether in the history books, in documentaries or in film, insofar as we sweep away the preponderant role played by Russia and Africa in this fight against Nazism. We are here together because we are here to talk about the future of our peoples and what is to come. Of the future of tomorrow, of the free world to which we aspire, of a world without interference in our internal affairs. We have the same prospects, and I hope that this summit will be an opportunity to forge very good relations and to create a better future for our peoples. The questions that my generations are asking themselves about the next generation, if I can sum it up, is that they do not understand how Africa, with so much wealth on our soil, with its generous nature, water and abundant sunshine, Africa is today the poorest continent. Africa is a starving continent. And how is it that our heads of state are traveling through the world of a man? These are questions that we are asking ourselves and that we have not yet had answers. We have the opportunity to forge new relationships, and I hope that these relations can be the best, to give a better future to our peoples. My generation also instructs me to say that because of poverty, they are forced to cross the ocean in order to try to reach Europe. They die in the ocean, but that soon they will not have crossed it, because they will come in front of our palaces to look for their daily sustenance. As far as Burkina Faso is concerned, for more than 8 years, we have been confronted with the most barbaric and violent form of neocolonialism and imperialism. Slavery still has so much to impose on us. Our front runners have taught us one thing: slavery that is not capable of accepting its own revolt does not deserve to be relied upon by its fate. We don't worry about our fate. We are not asking for someone to rely on our fate. The people of Burkina Faso have decided to fight against hypothyrism, capable of reviving its development. In this struggle, valiant peoples, wines and a population have pledged to take up arms in the face of terrorists. The ones we actually called the VDPs, volunteers. We are surprised to see the imperialists calling these VDPs militias and of all kinds. It is one of those wines, because in Europe, when people take up arms to defend their patriots, they are called patriots. Our grandfathers were deported to save Europe. It was not with their consent, against their grey. Well, on the way back, we remember that in TRAORE, when they tried to bandage their elemental sheet, they were massacred, so it doesn't matter. When we people decide to defend ourselves, we are called militias. But that's not the problem. What is the problem is to see African heads of state who bring nothing to these peoples who are fighting, but who sing the same thing as the imperialists. To our militia dealers, to our traders, therefore, to men who do not respect human rights, hence the human right. We are effusive against this and these shameful people. We, the African heads of state, must stop behaving like puppets who dance every time the imperialists pull the strings. Yesterday, President Vladimir Putin announced that the grain would be sent to Africa. And we are very happy, and we thank each other for that. But it is also a message to our African heads of state, because at the next forum, we must not come here without having ensured that our peoples will be able to achieve food self-sufficiency for those who do not know war. We need to learn from those who have already been able to achieve this in Africa. Build good relations here and build better relations with the Russian Federation so that we can meet the needs of our people. I may not be slow, time is running out and very short. We are obliged to stop and love my take. But I would like to end by saying that we must therefore pay tribute to our peoples who are fighting. Glory to our peoples, dignity to our peoples, victory to our peoples.
So African politicians are going out there. When they get there, they just sit down and they're listening to what they're being told, whether it's good or bad, whether it's going to help the people of Africa or it's not going to help the people of Africa. They don't care. Okay, they're just listening and end up making deals that are very, very bad, like deals that do not even. They're not even good. Deals that they end up actually punishing the people of Africa, the African people, the black people. You see, because their work is just to follow. They don't even take time to think, and that's the problem we're having here in Africa with African politicians, especially those who are puppets. They just move like they are just following. They don't even know what they're being asked to do. They don't have the people of Africa. They don't have the people they are leading in their minds. So they forget that they are leading people, and when they go out there, they are supposed to represent people of Africa, the people they are leading, because we have chosen them. But when they get there, what do they think? They think about their stomachs. They think about how they're going to get money. They think about how they're going to be given money. They think about how they're going to be funded. And these funds they're being given, they know very well this fund will end up in our pockets. The people we are leading will not get even a single cent. We're not going to build roads. We're not going to actually... That is what they think. So even when they are called by these Western presidents, they go there very fast. In fact, they would leave everything they are doing to go there. Why? Because they know at the end of the day, there is something we are going to get in return. That is what they do. And this something, whatever the thing we are going to get, it's going to be ours. We're not going to share it with the African, with our people. So these people sometimes, I think even they go to the campaigns and look for presidency so that they can be able just to wait until the day they will be called on a summit, and then they will go, all of them. You know, when they get there, they are being promised some things. We shall give you this, we shall give you that, we shall give you... You see, and then when they get all these things, what do? They keep it for themselves. That's what they do. So when they get there, they have even they're behaving like danderheads. Like people who are, like, they are danders. Like, you see, I don't know how can I actually... the people who are not upright, like they're behaving like people who are not upright. People who are out of their minds. That is how African politicians behave. And do you know what is it that makes them behave that way? It is greedy and the love of money and corruption. That is what makes them look like an upright people. People who are not upright. People who are not upright. That's how they behave. They behave like people who are not upright. People who are not stable upstairs. They don't have brains. Their thinking capacity is very low, and they're just confused elements. That is who African politicians are. And that's the biggest difference between Ibrahim Traore and African politicians. When he go out there, number one, he puts the interests of Africans first. Number one, if we are to negotiate, number one, you need to promise me that my people are going to get this, and they're going to get this, and they're going to get this. If at all we have to enter into a contract with you, if at all we have to actually come up with something together, number one, you have to tell me. You have to give me an assurance that if I enter into this contract, or if I enter into this agreement, what are my people going to benefit from this? Because he knows he is a leader and he is leading people, and there are people behind him who are looking up to him, because he knows he is not the boss to the people. He is a servant to the people. He is serving people. When he goes out there, he understands that I am here not because I want to make myself rich, not because I want to gain something or to get something from this from this meeting, but because I am representing the people who placed me here. I am here because I am a representative of the people. And therefore, by being a representative of the people, it means these people have chosen me to be their representative. Therefore, I am a servant to these people, not a boss to these people. African politicians go to these summits as bosses to the people. So they are told, go and do this. And when they come out of there, they just know we are going to impose this to the people and tell them, do 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Because we are commanders. We are going to command them to do 1, 2, 3, 4 things. They have forgotten we are the bosses. They are the servant. But Ibrahim Traore understands that he is a servant to the people, and people who place him there are the bosses to him. And therefore, he does what the boss wants. Number one, what are my people going to get from this? African politicians, what are we going to get from this? Like, he doesn't care about, they don't care about the people. They care about themselves. That is a very powerful speech that Ibrahim Traore delivered in that summit. A very powerful speech. A very powerful speech. Some people may think it's not, but when you listen to it very carefully, you will realize that is a speech like no other. You know why people take advantage of us? You know why people think we are fools, or people think we are stupid? It's because we behave like fools. And we, African politicians and African leaders, we behave like stupid people. So we are behaving like fools. When you behave as like a fool, definitely people are going to take you as a fool. When you behave like someone who is out of your mind, people are going to take you as person who is out of his mind. The character you deploy, the character you display on the board is what people will take you. Of course, you cannot walk like a like someone who is saved, someone who is a believer, and you're behaving like a pagan. Action speaks louder than words. When a Western president calls you, number one, he looks at you. What do you have in mind? Do you look like someone who can be controlled? Do you look like someone who can be manipulated? Of course, African politicians, African leaders look like people they can be manipulated. And that is why they are being manipulated every other time. But leaders who have stand, look at a leader like Muammar Gaddafi. Look at a leader like Thomas Sankara. Look at a leader like John Pombe Magufuli. You see? Look at leaders like Patrice Lumumba. Those who are great leaders. Look at leaders like Julius Kambarage Nyerere Mwalimu. Those who are great leaders, leaders who had stand, they had principles. When they had to say no to something, it's a no to something. And that is why Western leaders couldn't actually get along with them, couldn't walk in the same lane with them, because they had stand. But we are surviving, African politicians today and African leaders, because we have shown them that we can actually be manipulated. See, it's better to die than to suffer. And it's better to die trying. Because at the end of the day, it is very bad to live under slavery for as long as you live in this world, or to live under a kind of life, a certain life that people are actually manipulating you every other time. People are actually sitting on your heads and doing whatever the sort of things, bad things they want to do forever in your life. And you're just living. You're telling yourself, as long as I'm breathing. You're breathing in slavery. What was that? Stand out, speak the truth, tell them the truth. We know that truth is bitter, and it's better for that truth to be bitter. And at the end of the day, people will not manipulate you, rather than sitting in lies, accepting to be manipulated in all your life. You look like a fool forever in all your life, and at the end of the day, you will still die, because nobody's going to live forever. You will still die. Whether you accept to be manipulated or you don't accept to be manipulated, at the end of the day, you will still die. At the end of the day, you will still die. So what is the kind of a legacy you're going to leave behind? That's the biggest difference between Ibrahim Traore and African politicians. African politicians don't take time to think. They see here, they don't see far. They just see here, they don't see far. They see today, let me be nice to them and I'll get money today. What about tomorrow? What will your people say about you? What will your people say about you when you're no longer into this world? Ibrahim Traore understands that I am here because the people of Africa placed me here. And therefore, what am I supposed to do? I am supposed to serve the people of Africa. When I go out there, the first thing I do is to put the interest of the people of Africa ahead of me. So when they ask me to speak, the first thing I will speak, I will ask them the questions, the fundamental questions that I'm supposed to ask them. The fundamental questions that they're supposed to hear. You see, he said, these questions we've been asking all the times. We've never gotten answers to these questions. But again, I am going to ask them once again. Because he is not looking like someone who is ready to give up on these questions anytime soon. Why? Because people of Africa must get their freedom. They must get justice. They must live independently. They must live not crying. They must get food. They must go to school. They must get good schools. They must get good health. They must get good treatment whenever they are sick. They must live in a country that is peaceful, and this slavery thing should come to an end. He knows that. He has that in mind, and that is why he will never be manipulated. In fact, instead of him being manipulated, or instead of him living in a life that looks like captivity, instead of him living like a slave, he is respected because he has stand. People who respect themselves, people who have principles, people who have rules, they have principles. They say, this is what I'm going to do, and nobody has to tell me otherwise. Those people are always respected and not easily manipulated. That is why Ibrahim Traore is never manipulated, and he is respected. Why is he respected? He is respected because he respects people of Africa. And I'm telling you, very soon, even that Emmanuel Macron is going to respect Ibrahim Traore. Even that Donald Trump is going to respect Ibrahim Traore. All Europe leaders are going to respect Ibrahim Traore because Ibrahim Traore is a man of principles. I'm telling you, because they will try to kill him, they will fail, and at the end of the day, they will have nothing, they will remain with nothing but just to respect him and listen to what he says. That is what they're going to do. African politicians, African leaders, you need to learn from this guy. Otherwise, if you don't learn from this guy, there is nobody else who will come and teach you, and you will live into slavery for as long as it takes. I am the African Streamline. Do let me know what you have said in the comment section. I'll do my best to make sure I read all of them and give a response. If it's first time to be here, press the subscription box. Don't leave without doing that. I need you to do that because you are good people, and you are people I'm looking forward to. You are my supporters, and by you doing that, I will keep on staying here and injecting and injecting and injecting, because truth is bitter, but truth will set us free. Thank you, my black brothers from diaspora, from Caribbean, and from all over Africa. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I love you every time and every moment. I'll never stop loving you. Adios, muchachos.